Good morning and g'day, mate. Welcome back to Dyson Sphere with me, Jetty, and of course, the wonderful Mr. Icarus Prime. And in our last couple of episodes, we've been working on a big project. It's a bit of a sizable project. In fact, it's probably going to take up half a planet. Let's turn on the full headlights and let's just talk over what we were building. Because, you know, in case you missed the last couple of episodes, we were trying to plan out to make 5 rockets per second. Because we have a lovely blueprint in here. In the polar blueprints, we have the polar rocket silos, which has 29 silos. If we had 30 silos in the polar blueprint, we've got 29, couldn't quite fit 30, we needed somewhere to put the tower, that launches 2.5 rockets per second. So we came out to a brand new planet, Tokumiku, and we started planning things out. We planned out all the components we need to build 5 rockets per second. The blueprint only does 2.5, but I want to make 5, that way we could launch multiple spheres at the same time. So we came out here and we have, you know, well, fuel. Actually, let's look at the recipe. So we needed deuterium fuel rods, plus we need quantum chips, plus we need Dyson Sphere components. So we made a little blueprint for deuterium fuel rods. This, of course, all the manufacturing required. It doesn't include any of the smelting. We then needed quantum chips. Quantum chips was this build here. We needed all of this to make the quantum chips for the fuel rods. Then we had to make the Dyson Sphere components. Now, Dyson Sphere components have processors, not too hard. They have solar cells, not too hard. They have frame material, not particularly hard, but it does require 4 carbon nanotubes each, which led to this. All of this was to make the frame material to then come all the way back down here to make the Dyson Sphere components. And as you can see, I've covered part of the planet in blue, because what we want to do this episode is we want to put down a final blueprint. Because I promised you last episode I'd wander off and I'd look and I'd see what was required to make a final blueprint to do everything. So I want to come from here, and we want to fly, because, nope, that'll get everything to there. Oh, we're going to have some belt sticking out. It's fine. And we want to fly around the map. Over here, we might lose a few frames doing this, just 1 or 2. It'll probably be okay. Well, at least to there. Oh! Okay, wrong button. Alright, let's try again. Let's start at the top. I want to go from that square up there to all the way down to... I want to make sure not to get that tower, because that tower we're going to need later. And technically we don't have to clear anything past this yellow line, but what's down there I want to remove anyway. I want to land, because I want to do, well, that. Okay! The game takes a second to think about it, but it got there in the end, and everything has been removed. Yeah, it filled up my inventory a little bit, but that's perfectly fine. We can throw that out, and, you know, we'll use our giant vacuum to pick up some of this stuff. Fair bit of this stuff, actually. Nope, that's all there is. We're going to remove that, because we don't need that either. We need to remove this tower, because it's probably getting it. Oh, really? I missed some? I missed some, because I spent a bit of time. Spent a bit of time coloring a bit of the map, putting in a little bit of foundation. We should check before we go. Wow. Okay, there might have been a lot that didn't fit in my inventory. I missed some. Yep, okay. Glad we checked, Okay, because... Actually, let's just rip up that as well. It won't fit my inventory either, but that's okay. What I want to do is I want to put down a single blueprint, okay? Single blueprint that does absolutely everything we need. I'm gonna remove that, just so it's definitely not in our way. And in here I have small carrier rockets for 5 per second. And I'm gonna go J mode. Yeah, it's small. Very, very small. And the best thing about giant blueprints like this is it's very hard to see where the hell they are in relation to everything else. So I need to go to the left. One big square. So right click. What I want to do... Gosh. Yeah, it's a bit of an unruly blueprint. I think that fits. It doesn't fit. Okay. No, I need to go a little bit further. Alright, so we right click again, and then we left click. Ah! Oh, it's too close to a station. Oh, it's not an overlap, it's a too close. Alright, we'll come a little bit further. I didn't quite put enough foundation down. There. Oh boy. One giant blueprint. Now, it's going to take me a minute to build. It turns out we're short of like 1,000 items. Can we come in here, please? Yes. You're going. I need to put shippies in there, and I have no little shippy. Let's go to our far outreach tower and say, you know what? It turns out I'm probably going to need little shippies and probably some big shippies. I don't actually know whether I need belts or not, because in theory we left a lot of stuff on the ground. Map view. So the further you zoom out, the better this vacuum works. That seems to have got everything from there. And Icarus is putting down stuff right where he is. And let's fly over here and we can vacuum up some more stuff. Super vacuum up some stuff. Oh boy. And we'll fly over here. Again, super vacuum. That's 1,500 belt that I just found on the ground. We're down only 4,000 items on the ground. We're getting there. Alright, more flying. Hey! Another solar cell. Oh, look, there's actually some belt that we missed entirely on the rip-up process. Okay. Let's remove those as well. Fly over here. And a couple of things you're going to notice with this blueprint. One, it's actually smaller than when we drafted things out, which tends to be what happens. When you're drafting things out, they tend to shrink. As you finalize things, as you neaten everything up, the builds tend to get anywhere between fractionally smaller and a lot smaller. There's still 700 items on the map, and I have no idea where they are. Any stuff? Oh, there's a patch. Okay. $400. Oh. I just realized. Smelters, please. How many does it say I need? 331. Less than I thought. 400. Alright, let's go back to the vacuuming. Okay, over to our left. Yeah, the universal vacuum doesn't have unlimited range. Does have good range, but the range applies more zoomed out you are. No, no, no. Ah, there's a patch. 10 items, 10 items, 7 items. Oh, there's no way I'm going to find 7 items. No way. Alright, what I need to do is I need to build this blueprint. So, I think we're going to have to put in a reasonable length montage, to be honest. Because there's a fair bit that needs to go down. This, well... No, we got it on the blue. To here. Yeah, it's not quite half a planet, but it's very, very close. I do not have power poles. Okay, so what don't I have? I don't have 100 power poles. Sorters, I definitely probably don't have 2,000 sorters. We're going to go with power poles. How does this say? 103. 200 please. Clear that. Clear that. Clear that. Sorters. 3,000. Yep. And belt. What's that? 1200, 2400. Probably about just a reasonable supply of belt. I don't think I need the 5000 it's telling me. Oh, and chem plants. Chem plants. What does this say? This says 43. Well, no, actually, the chem plants are in my inventory. So, when you put down a giant blueprint, or even a small blueprint, if it's in your inventory, it instantly disappears, okay? And it goes down on the ground, and you just need to fly A to B and actually have the bots put stuff down. So, it instantly disappears, which means if I have belts in my inventory, they are part of this number. Okay, so the 5000 belt I'm missing are actually coming out of my inventory, because when I put down the blueprint, I was 5000 short, and I've gone and picked up some belts since. Same is going to apply to the power poles when they arrive, the smelters, the chem plants. Chem plants, as we can see, where are our chem plants? I just saw them. Here we go. I have, what's that? 150, 180, 220, 240, 210. Yeah, and I only need 43. So we should be fine. I just need to power everything up. Oh, there's one item. Nah, that's it. Okay, yes, I'm going to put in a montage. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, I think we have a complete blueprint. I think. Really, the only way to know is fly Icarus around and watch for a bot to suddenly go flying off. But let's talk through this blueprint, because although it only took me, 10 minutes to line up and 5 minutes to put down, it's fairly in-depth. So we're going to start here. Actually, no, we're going to start... Oh, let's start at the top. Okay, so we have iron, copper, and silicon. We do need to pile the silicon, because silicon disappears into microcrystalline components, along with the iron, the copper disappear into circuit boards. Copper then rips back around here to convert, to also run into microcrystalline components to make processors. Processors come down here to go into quantum chips. They actually come down around the front all the way back down. Then we have the other half of quantum chips being the plane filters, which of course require titanium glass, which of course requires glass plus titanium plus a belt of water right here. Don't forget, everything is proliferator Mark III. Everything's either proliferated when it leaves the tower, or after it's been produced, it then gets proliferated before it goes into the production lines. You might notice we're also running all of this off one proliferation belt. Yeah, one belt of juice runs everything. Of course, we need the cashmere crystals, which I know I pronounced wrong, but we're just going to leave that there, which requires graphene, which of course comes from fire ice. Also requires the titanium crystals, so we have another titanium smelter to make titanium crystals with some of the, what's that stuff? Organic crystals. It looks like there is a little bit of belt left over. from when I rearranged the goop belt. And that is quantum chips, which then get forced all the way back out to this tower for local supply. Okay, very, very important. That's one of our components we need for our rockets. Okay, next one is going to be, of course, the actual deuterium fuel rods. So deuterium fuel rods require supermagnetic rings plus deuterium, plus they require titanium alloy. So titanium alloy, let's start there. We have iron smelting to make steel smelting. Can I move power pole? Yes. To make titanium smelting, to make titanium alloy. Okay, that goes off to the actual deuterium fuel rods themselves. On top of that, we need to make the supermagnetic rings. So supermagnetic rings require magnets, plus they require, well, their subcomponents require magnets and copper. So magnets and copper come in here to make magnetic coils. Magnetic coils bounce up here to make electric engines. They also bounce all the way out and come over here to make the electromagnetic turbines that also go into the supermagnetic rings. Supermagnetic rings also require energetic graphite, which pops out here, does a little jump over the top. I really wish I could have rearranged that, but unfortunately, due to the way Dyson Sphere blueprints are, it's very, very hard to rearrange things after you've sort of got something half built. You know, sliding everything down by 3 tiles, a lot easier said than done. Also, I needed the iron to feed into the steel, to feed into the titanium, but I actually have to slide everything down just to put the coal at the top. Just not worth it. We do, you notice, have to stack up the rings because they go way over 30 per second, because, you know, they're used in this production, which is used in that production and that production before the leftover magnets come up here to get used in this production. So that is our deuterium fuel rods. Deuterium we're actually feeding from the other end, which we have set this one up, and actually I should start adding shippies. Can I go back to here before I forget? No, you have shippies, you have shippies, you have shippies. Excellent. We do have these available in the network, but they're going to get requested locally before they're requested not locally, you know, because the chance we actually have 2,000 stack up in here is pretty much slim to none as long as we're making rockets, because everything is made to a ratio from raw ingredients. Okay, next one we have is the Dyson Sphere components, which have several subcomponents. We're actually going to start at the bottom because that makes the most sense, believe it or not. So the Dyson Sphere components require processors, plus they require cells, plus they require the frame material. So processors is a whole lot of silicon smelting, like a lot of silicon smelting. We have these getting stacked to at least 2 high before they run into microcrystalline components. Microcrystalline components pop out here, come down to the processors. So that is one item down. Next item is the sails. Sails, again, same story. Sails have a fairly easy recipe. They need photon combiners, which is prisms and glass, prisms, which come from glass. They also require circuit boards, and the other thing required for sails is graphene. Now, graphene is fire ice. It is these poor little 6 chemical plants here grabbing the actual end of the fire ice belt. The fire ice belt comes in up here somewhere and feeds through all the other ones before it gets to these 6. They dump their hydrogen. Very, very important we dump our hydrogen. We're going to need our hydrogen later. They make the graphene, pops in here. As for glass, so we have a glass smelter, which comes down here to make the prisms. We also need to make circuit boards, and we needed circuit boards for process as well. So we actually have 2 circuit board builds end to end. This one produces, I think it's 18 per second, and then this build produces another 9 per second. Our belts can move 30 items per second, so we've got, no, this produces 18 per second, then when it's piled, that brings it down to 9 per second. This also produces 18 per second, so it's 9 plus 18 equals 27, which should give us enough room on the belt. As we can see, not everything is emptying currently. It does keep up. It's perfectly happy keeping up. We've probably got something further down the line that's not running at full speed because everything literally just got built. That makes like photo combiners. Photo combiners and our graphene go into solar sails. Solar sails go off to a build. Now, one thing that's not in the blueprint, but it's entirely up to you, and it's why we have this little gap here, is I'm actually going to put in a tower right about here. I'm going to bring the sails in and bring the sails out. And the reason I do that is items, sails with, well, you can have those ones, with shippies and shippies, and set you to max and bring in some warpers, please. 100 local demand, remote supply. Okay, reason that is done is if sails back up. If something further down the line backs up, i.e. we're not making rockets, I'd like to have the excess sails be able to be launched off. At the same time, it does mean we can see it right now when things occasionally get stacked because these towers automatically stack to whatever our tech level is, which is currently 4. If I set this to 1, we'd actually see that when we have excess production, it actually stacks up in here. I'm just going to leave that set to our tech level for the moment. It means this would have to back up and stack all the way up to 4 for the whole belt, which will take forever, but it's a backup. In case it backs up, it gives us access to the sails, which we can then obviously fire off into more spheres. Next up, we have graphene. Graphene, oh, so that completes frame material. No, that completes, yeah, solar sails to make, no, to make the Dyson Sphere component. Last one is the frame material. Frame material, super easy recipe, okay? Frame material you need... Yes. Frame material, you need titanium alloy. So again, we're bringing in iron ore, we're smelting that into iron, we're then converting our iron to steel, we're then converting our iron, our steel with our titanium line. We might notice we actually have 2 titanium lines. One travels to the right, and the other one travels... Well, they both travel to the right. Difference is one goes north, one goes south. The one that goes north comes up here to our titanium alloy, brings in acid as well, makes titanium alloy, which of course is going to wander off to the Dyson Sphere components. Then we need to make the frame material. Frame material. Frame material. Frame material. No, it actually goes into frame materials, yes. That titanium alloy belt, aha, pops down here. It's one of the feed-ins for the frame material. The other one, and of course silicon. Silicon has its own dedicated smelter. The other titanium line comes in here and actually goes into making our nanotubes. Because I chose, again, not to use a rare recipe. I don't really want to use a rare recipe to launch the stuff into space. I'd much prefer to use a rare recipe to actually... you know, do science or do something critical. Okay, these are literally been launched into space, and at the end of the day, the production size of nanotubes doesn't get any smaller whether you use the rare recipe or not, because this is all nanotubes. 5 rows, 20 long. The only difference is it means we wouldn't need the extra 3 rows down here of graphene, and we wouldn't need this tiny little titanium smelter there if we use the rare recipe. Anyway, with our nanotubes, our titanium done, and our high purity silicon done, we can now make frame material. Frame material comes out here. As you can see, there's a little bit of extra production. That's entirely normal. And comes up here to make the Dyson Sphere components. Dyson Sphere components pop out here and disappear into our rocket build. Yes, all of that produces these lovely machines here, which make 5 rockets per second. And we already have 2,000 rockets in the time it took me to build the whole thing, explain the whole thing, and boot the whole thing up. At the same time, I forgot to put robots and shippies in so many of these towers. Or did I? Yeah, you don't have shippies. Okay, you have shippies. You have shippies. You have shippies. And you have shippies. There are a couple of things like hydrogen. We kick out the excess hydrogen here. And then it gets imported. Where the hell is... it's up 1 build. The excess hydrogen gets imported over here, generally. to run into cashmere crystals. Actually, the whole build is negative on hydrogen. Even with all the fire ice we're making, we still need excess hydrogen for a few different things. So that is the build. Build is available. Blueprint is available on Discord. As you can see, I've spent a lot of time marking different belts and that sort of stuff. I only found out just like yesterday that I could actually come in here and say 5. And I'll say 5 silicon. And then you know that you need 5 silicon per second. So we're going to experiment with that in the future. But this is our lovely rocket build. Now, the only other minor change I want to make, and this is a change that my preference might not be your preference, is I want to remove there to there to there. I actually want to build that, bring that belt up and then back down. Because I want a tower. Yeah, we're going to have a bit of a power problem. I haven't even spoken about how much power this thing uses. It's a buyer but beware situation. So I want to bring out of there rockets into... Nope. Thought rough bow tile. Yes. I want to put down a tower there. Plus I want to have... and I'll mention this very, very quickly. If we bring out stack number 5 of warpers, they're going to come out fully stacked. Fully stacked to whatever the tower supports. At the moment, my tower supports things stacked 3 high. If I change this to 6 and then extend the belt out a few more tiles, they come out 1 high. Because tile number 6, this is the tile. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Filter number 6 does not stack because it's not designed to stack. I'm going to run that in there. Can I give you the frame materials? Because it turns out they're super expensive. We're going to put rockets in here, and we're going to set that to that. Then what I want to do is I want to put a friend there, a friend there, a friend there, a friend there. Come on, keep going, and there. Because I never, ever, ever want this build to stop running. Okay, if, for argument's sake, our sphere is complete, I want to keep building rockets, okay? We will find a place to launch them in the future, even if it's not right now. We will find somewhere to launch them in the future. So I want to plug all these into one another, and basically what we're doing is we're creating a giant stockpile. Got to remember, these are now fully upgraded, so they actually hold 20,000 rockets apiece. I have no idea how many I put down. You can already tell me in the comments how many I put down, how much storage that is. But I know it's a lot. It's an awful lot, and that's perfectly fine by me. I would much prefer to have 1 million rockets, 2 million rockets, whatever it happens to be, available for me when I suddenly decide I want a sphere done, and I want a sphere done now. Because there are times when you want a sphere done, and you want a sphere done now. There. Oh. No, that does reach. To there. You reach? You do. Okay. And there. And there. And there. And there. And we'll throw a power pole here somewhere. And of course, you have shippies. You have shippies. You have shippies. Technically, they don't need the little drones, but you know, force of habit and all. And this is where my stockpile is. So this will have all the rockets will flow to the last one first, and then eventually they'll back up to all the other ones. Okay, so with that done and dusted, next thing we need to talk about is power. We have a small problem. Like a 2-point-something gigawatt problem. We have suns on the whatever pole this happens to be, and they are our solution. So, as it was pointed out to me in the comments, and if you go back and watch the video, I was right, but it's something that probably needs a second explanation. So, our suns, Dyson Sphere component, they produce 72 megawatts, okay, which is great. That's a lot of power, but I need more power. So what I can do is, same with other types of fuel, I can proliferate it. There's a catch. When we proliferate deuterium fuel rods, and actually we have some of those around that I can sample, which we might actually do. Can I have you come up a tile, please? Stop that. There to there. What? Thank you. There to there. It's so fiddly. To there, to there. Have you come out? Slot number 3, because we do not have Kimberlite. Oh, 3. Endpoint must be horizontal. It is. Okay, slot number 3, clear. I want that to be juice. We're going to go with local demand. No? Okay, it's going to have to be a remote demand. And we'll put that in there. Okay, whilst we wait, let's go grab from the first tower, because I said, ooh. Yeah, this thing burns a bit of juice. Just a tiny bit. I hope one tower is enough to creep out. Actually, you know what? We might do local demand as well. Just in case. Okay, you can have local supply. Let's just dump that on the belt to start with, and that will start juicing our fuel rods. Okay, I want to remove you, and we're going to remove you as well. And oh, I'm picking them up. Never mind. I'm holding the middle mouse button. I didn't think I'd be actually picking them up. Okay. So we have a whole bunch of juiced fuel rods. We're going to remove that and put it straight back down. So you have juiced fuel, which if we compare this one to this one, you can see the orange ring is complete. Okay, we don't get any extra blue ring like we do on. Let's actually go to a production item, a production building. This internal blue ring means free production, okay? This extra products thing. If I swap this over to here, we get production speed up. We see the blue ring doesn't move anymore. Same story when it comes to our power. So we don't get extra fuel. We don't magically get extra power, okay? Which is why up until now I wasn't proliferating them. But you might notice I get 144 megawatts. This one still does 72. So I get twice the amount of power, which I like the idea of, because we're short on power. And obviously they're going to burn out what's there currently eventually, but I just need to get into the green. Perfect. And we will dump that fuel in there, which is going to automatically give it 1 star, because some of it's been sprayed 3 times and some of it's been sprayed 0 times, but that should be enough. In fact, what I might do is let's just remove that 1 tile. And then I'll just grab... I don't really want to turn it off. There's no good way to grab all the dirty fuel, all the old fuel off the belts, and just have the juiced fuel on the belts. No, it seems to be working reasonably well. That's fine. Keep grabbing. Yeah, that's the unmixed fuel. We'll settle for some mixed fuel. Alright, suck all that back up. Actually, how much fuel do I have? Let's put that, actually. Let's put that and that in there. And let's put everything else in there. Okay, and we'll rejoin that back together. Cool. Alright, so that should fix our power problem. It's not going to fix it straight away, but it will fix it in the long run. At the same time, I do need to probably, because you guys don't want to see this, just like tap every resource on this planet. Because we're using just about every resource, well, every non-rare resource. Yes, non-rare resource. Well, I think that's where we're going to end this episode. I'd like to do more. I'd like to start launching rockets, doing all sorts of things. Now we're making more rockets, but unfortunately, we're just out of time. Giant megastructures take some time to build and some time to explain. But with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed. And I'll see you guys in the very next episode. Bye.